It's 2:47 a.m. on a quiet residential street in Solihull, Birmingham. A man steps out of a parked van, walks calmly to a black Range Rover, and crouches down near the front wheel arch. His colleague stands by the front door of the house, holding a small device the size of a TV remote. 30 seconds later, the Range Rover's lights flash once. The door opens. No alarm, no broken glass, no sound at all. They drive away. By the time the owner wakes up, the car is already on the M6 heading south. By the time he files a police report, it's in a shipping container at Tilbury Docks. And by the time that report gets assigned to an officer, the car is somewhere in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Somewhere in the UK, a car is stolen every 4 minutes. In the last decade, vehicle theft has surged by 75%, and the police are nowhere near keeping up. Charge rates for car theft have collapsed from 9% in 2013 to just 2.6% today. That's not a typo. Out of every 100 cars stolen, fewer than 3 result in any kind of charge. So the question isn't just why car theft is exploding, it's why Britain, specifically, has become the best place in the world to be a car thief, and what that says about where organised crime in this country is heading next. For a long time, car theft in the UK looked like a problem on its way to extinction. Back in the 1980s, stealing a car was almost embarrassingly easy. A screwdriver to force the door, a couple of wires touched together under the dashboard. Done. Joyriding was rampant. Cars were stolen by the hundreds of thousands every year, mostly by opportunistic teenagers looking for a thrill rather than a profit. Then technology caught up. In the early 1990s, manufacturers rolled out electronic key fobs and engine immobilizers. The effect was immediate and dramatic. Car thefts in the UK fell every single year, from 1993 to 2013. At the low point, just under 80,000 vehicles were stolen annually, a record low. It genuinely looked like the problem had been solved, and then, almost overnight, it reversed. By 2023, that number had climbed back to over 136,000, a 75% increase in just 10 years. But what's more alarming than the number is the method, because criminals didn't go back to screwdrivers. They went somewhere else entirely. Modern cars are computers on wheels. Every function, the doors, the ignition, the brakes, the steering, is controlled by software. Manufacturers sold this as a security feature. In reality, it created a new attack surface that criminals were faster to exploit than manufacturers were to defend. The most common method today is called a relay attack, and it works like this. Most modern cars use keyless entry, a system where the car detects the key's signal and unlocks automatically when you're nearby. The key emits a short-range signal constantly, even when it's sitting on your hallway table. Thieves use 2 devices, an amplifier and a transmitter, to intercept and relay that signal across a much greater distance. One thief stands near your front door to pick up the key's signal. The other stands next to your car. The car thinks the key is right there. The door opens, the engine starts, and they're gone in under 60 seconds. For newer, higher-value vehicles, there's an even more sophisticated method called a CAN bus injection. It involves physically accessing a car's internal computer network, usually through a headlight or a door panel, and reprogramming it to accept a blank key. The devices used to do this cost upwards of £20,000 on the black market, which tells you everything about how profitable the operation is on the other end. Because this isn't joyriding anymore. This is a business, a highly organized, internationally structured, remarkably efficient business. Car theft gangs today operate in hierarchies. At the bottom are the runners, usually young men, often teenagers, paid a flat rate of £200 to £500 per job to carry out the physical theft. Above them are scouts, whose job is to identify target vehicles, sometimes by driving through wealthy neighborhoods, sometimes by trawling social media for people showing off expensive cars. Then there are technical specialists, the people with the equipment and the knowledge to defeat advanced security systems. And at the top are the coordinators, who manage the entire operation, handle the logistics, and have built the international connections needed to turn stolen vehicles into cash. Once a car is stolen, it goes one of 2 ways. The first is a chop shop. The car is stripped for parts, which are sold through online marketplaces like eBay, or through complicit repair shops. Cheaper, faster, lower risk. The second and more lucrative route is export. This is where the UK's geography becomes, counterintuitively, an enormous advantage for criminals. Britain is an island. You'd think that would make it harder to smuggle stolen cars out of the country. In reality, it makes it easier, because as an island, the UK pays disproportionate attention to what comes in. Drugs, firearms, illegal immigration, are all associated with inbound shipments. Ports allocate the vast majority of their resources to policing imports. The scrutiny on exports is, by comparison, extremely low. A Range Rover stolen at 2 a.m. in a London suburb can realistically be driven to the port of Dover. Ferries to continental Europe leave every 30 minutes and be docking in the Netherlands before the owner has even woken up. From there, it travels through Europe, is fitted with fraudulent paperwork, and ends up in West Africa, the Middle East, or South Asia, where right-hand drive vehicles are in high demand, and there's essentially no competition for the UK as a supplier. That last point matters. Most of the world drives on the right. So for left-hand drive markets, France, Germany, the US, stolen cars can come from anywhere. There's competition, but for right-hand drive markets like South Africa, India, Kenya, and Australia, the UK is one of the only sources. It's an effective monopoly. Criminals in Britain aren't competing with car theft gangs in other countries for the same buyers. They own the market. Of the 136,000 vehicles stolen in the UK in 2023, around 40% are believed to have ended up in the Democratic Republic of Congo alone. From there, they're redistributed across the region and sold as second-hand vehicles. Significantly cheaper than new ones, expensive enough for everyone in the supply chain to turn a profit, and completely untraceable. Now, if every car owner in the UK who's had their vehicle stolen subscribed to this channel, we probably have more viewers than cars left on British streets. Hit subscribe. Seriously, it's free, and unlike your Range Rover, no one can steal it. The cost of all this to the UK economy is estimated at around £1.7 billion a year. But that figure doesn't capture the full picture. In the last few years, the average cost of car insurance in the UK has risen by 82%. In the highest theft areas, premiums have surged by up to 180% in just 2 years. For people who live outside major cities and depend on a car to get to work, that isn't an inconvenience. It's a crisis, and the response from the people who are supposed to fix it has been, to put it generously, underwhelming. Police vehicle crime units across the country have been gutted by a decade of funding cuts. Officers who once worked exclusively on organised vehicle theft have been redeployed or made redundant. The units that remain are massively outgunned, both in terms of resources and technology, by the criminal networks they're supposed to be investigating. Car manufacturers, meanwhile, are caught in an awkward position. They know their vehicles have security vulnerabilities, but acknowledging those vulnerabilities publicly risks triggering costly recalls and undermining customer confidence in cars that are already on the road. So many of them do what large organizations tend to do when faced with expensive problems. They wait. They patch quietly when they can, and they hope the problem resolves itself. It won't, because the fundamental equation, low risk, high reward, hasn't changed. Until the scrutiny on outbound shipping increases, until police vehicle crime units are properly funded, and until manufacturers are legally required to meet minimum security standards, the incentive structure for car thieves remains almost perfectly optimized. But here's the bigger picture. Car theft isn't happening in isolation. In 2024, the National Crime Agency reported increases across virtually every category of organized crime: fraud, money laundering, cybercrime, human trafficking. Vehicle theft is one thread in a much larger fabric. The criminal networks that steal cars are the same networks that move drugs and launder money. Solving car theft without addressing that broader ecosystem is like fixing a leak without turning off the water. The cars keep disappearing, the containers keep sailing, and somewhere in Solihull right now, there's probably another Range Rover with about 30 seconds left on the clock.